Since the beginning of recorded history, human beings have looked up at the sky and asked one question above all others: are we alone? But that is the wrong question. The real question, the one that changes everything, is not whether other beings exist out there. The real question is, compared to what is out there, where do we actually stand? Are humans the most spiritually advanced beings in this universe? Or are we the least? What if I told you that beings of pure consciousness have been watching this planet for longer than our entire recorded civilization has existed? What if I told you that the universe is not empty? It is full of intelligence, consciousness, and spiritual life at levels so far beyond what most humans can currently access that the gap is almost incomprehensible. And what if I told you that despite all of that, you, a human being, carry within you a spiritual potential that even the most advanced beings in this universe do not possess? Stay with me, because nothing about what I am going to tell you tonight is simple. Before we can talk about where humans stand spiritually, we need to understand what we are standing inside. Most people picture the universe as a vast empty space with scattered rocks, gases, and stars. That picture is incomplete. The universe is approximately 13.8 billion years old. Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. Human beings in our current form have existed for roughly 300,000 years. Hold those numbers in your mind. That means the universe existed for over 9 billion years before humans arrived. During those 9 billion years, countless other planets formed. Countless other forms of life emerged. Countless other civilizations rose, developed, evolved, and in many cases transcended physical existence entirely. We are not the first. We are not the most experienced. We are, in cosmic terms, the new arrivals, the young ones, the ones still figuring out how not to destroy each other. Ancient spiritual traditions across every culture on Earth knew this. The Vedic texts of ancient India, some of the oldest spiritual writings on Earth, describe multiple layers of existence populated by beings of increasing levels of consciousness, from the densest physical matter at the bottom to pure undifferentiated awareness at the top. Humans in this framework sit somewhere in the lower middle, not at the bottom, not at the top. Somewhere in the middle with an extraordinary capacity to move upward that most are not yet using. The ancient Egyptians described beings they called the Neteru, not gods in the way we use that word today, but highly advanced conscious entities who helped seed civilization on Earth. The Sumerian texts, among the oldest written records ever found, speak of beings called the Anunnaki who came from the sky and interacted with early humanity. Ancient Chinese cosmology describes 9 levels of heaven, each inhabited by increasingly refined beings. Indigenous cultures across every continent speak of star people, sky beings, ancestors from other worlds who visit, guide, and watch. These are not separate myths. These are different cultures separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years, all describing the same thing: a universe full of conscious life at levels far beyond what most humans currently experience. Now let us talk about what these other forms of consciousness actually are. Because when most people think about other beings in the universe, they think about the science fiction version. Gray aliens, flying saucers, little green men. That framework is far too small. The beings that exist at higher levels of consciousness do not necessarily have physical bodies. Think about this carefully. A physical body is a tool. It is a vehicle that consciousness uses to experience a specific frequency of reality. Just like you might drive a car to experience the road, consciousness uses a body to experience physical reality. But what happens when a civilization evolves beyond the need for physical experience? What happens when a conscious species develops so far spiritually that the physical body becomes too limiting, too slow, too dense for the level of awareness they have reached? They transition. They move from physical existence into pure energetic existence. They become what ancient traditions call light beings: angels, ancestors, guides, devas, celestial intelligences, different cultures, different names, same reality. These are not supernatural beings. They are natural beings at a more advanced stage of natural evolution. Now here is where it gets extraordinary. Modern physics is beginning, very slowly, very reluctantly, to catch up with what ancient spiritual traditions have always known. Quantum physics tells us that at the subatomic level, matter is not solid. What appears to be solid physical reality is actually, at its most fundamental level, vibrating fields of energy. Consciousness, according to the most cutting-edge theories in quantum physics, is not produced by the brain. The brain is a receiver, like a radio antenna. And consciousness is the signal, which means consciousness does not need a physical brain to exist. It existed before the brain. It will exist after the brain. The brain simply tunes into it for the duration of a physical life. If that is true, and an increasing number of serious scientists now believe it is, then beings of pure consciousness are not just mythology. They are the natural destination of any sufficiently evolved form of life, and the universe is full of them. The hierarchy of consciousness. Ancient traditions describe consciousness as existing in layers, like an ocean with different depths. At the surface, the densest, most physical level, you have matter, rocks, minerals, the basic building blocks. Just below the surface, plant consciousness. Science is only now beginning to understand that plants communicate, feel, respond, and process information in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. Deeper still, animal consciousness, emotions, instinct, social bonding, awareness. Deeper still, human consciousness, self-awareness, abstract thought, spiritual inquiry, the ability to ask, why am I here? And then deeper still, levels that most humans have not yet accessed collectively, but that advanced individuals throughout history have touched briefly. Mystics, prophets, enlightened masters, the people throughout history who suddenly knew things, saw things, understood things that no one around them could explain. They were not special in the way we think. They were not chosen by an external force. They had simply gone deeper, and beyond even that, beings for whom that depth is their normal resting state, for whom what a human experiences in a rare moment of profound spiritual revelation is simply Tuesday. So if we have this extraordinary potential, if ancient traditions across the world all point to human beings as having something rare and special, why are we collectively still here, still at war, still destroying the planet that sustains us, still unable to feed every human being despite producing more than enough food, still letting children die of preventable diseases while spending trillions on weapons? If we are so potentially advanced, why are we acting like this? There are several answers to this question, and none of them are comfortable. Answer 1. The density of physical reality. The physical dimension is the densest, slowest, most forgetful dimension of consciousness that exists. When a soul, a unit of consciousness, chooses to enter physical reality, it goes through what many traditions describe as a veil of forgetting. The Hindus call it Maya, the illusion. The Gnostics called it the veil. Plato described it as the cave, where prisoners sit with their backs to the light, mistaking shadows on a wall for reality. When you were born into this physical body, you forgot. You forgot what you are. You forgot where you came from. You forgot your connection to everything. And then the world immediately began teaching you a replacement identity. You are your name. You are your nationality. You are your religion. You are your job. You are your bank balance. And the real you, the vast, eternal, connected consciousness that you actually are, got buried under layer after layer of programming. This is not unique to you. This is the human condition. Every human being walking this earth is a vast spiritual being who has temporarily forgotten what they are. Answer 2. This was intentional. Now here is where we must be very honest and very careful. There are two schools of thought on why humanity remains spiritually asleep, and both contain truth. The first school says it is simply the natural result of dense physical existence. The forgetting is part of the design. You come here to learn through limitation, through contrast, through challenge. You cannot learn what light is without experiencing darkness. You cannot grow into compassion without first experiencing suffering. The forgetting is the curriculum. The second school says something darker. It says that the forgetting has been deliberately maintained, that there are forces, both physical and non-physical, that have a vested interest in keeping human consciousness at its current level. Think about it from a purely practical angle first. A spiritually awakened human being does not need external validation, does not need to be told what to think, does not need a system to tell them what has value, does not need to be kept afraid to be controlled. A spiritually awakened human being is ungovernable. and ungovernable people are a problem for anyone whose power depends on governance. Every system of control on this earth, political, financial, religious, media, functions most efficiently when the people within it are spiritually asleep, when they are identified with their fears, when they believe their worth is determined by what they own, when they see themselves as separate from each other, when they are too exhausted and distracted to look inward. Is this conspiracy, or is it simply the natural consequence of a world built by people who are themselves asleep, and who therefore, consciously or not, build systems that keep others asleep? The answer is probably both. Answer 3. We are in a transition period. Here is what almost no mainstream conversation about the state of humanity includes. Many ancient traditions, from the Vedic calendar to the Mayan calendar to indigenous prophecies from multiple continents, describe specific ages of human consciousness, cycles, like seasons, but measured in thousands of years. The Vedic tradition describes 4 yugas, 4 ages of consciousness. The Satya Yuga, an age of truth where most of humanity operates from its highest spiritual nature. The Treta Yuga, a slight descent. The Dvapara Yuga, further descent. And the Kali Yuga, the darkest age, an age of materialism, spiritual ignorance, conflict, and forgetting. According to many interpretations, we have been living in the Kali Yuga. But here is what matters. Every age ends. And many traditions, including those Vedic texts, say we are now at the turning point, at the end of the darkest age, and the beginning of a return to light. The Hopi people of North America describe this exact moment in history as the time of the Great Purification, a period of massive upheaval that precedes a shift in human consciousness. The Mayan calendar, which many people misunderstood as predicting the end of the world in 2012, was not predicting the end of the world. It was predicting the end of an age, and the beginning of a new cycle of human consciousness. Multiple prophetic traditions, multiple continents, multiple thousands of years of recorded wisdom, all pointing to this same window of time as the moment of transformation. Now we arrive at the part of this conversation that most people never hear, because while it is true that humans are currently operating far below their potential, while it is true that there are beings in this universe with far greater spiritual development, there is something that the human being possesses that is extraordinarily rare, perhaps unique in all of creation, and the most advanced beings in this universe know it. The gift of embodied consciousness. When a being has evolved beyond physical form, when it exists as pure light, pure energy, pure consciousness, it gains extraordinary capabilities. It can perceive across vast distances. It can exist in multiple locations simultaneously. It is not subject to the limitations of time and space in the way physical beings are. It has access to levels of wisdom and knowing that physical minds cannot easily reach. But it loses something. It loses the ability to feel. Not feel as in perceive, but feel as in the raw, electric, embodied sensation of physical existence. The feeling of sunlight on skin. The taste of food when you are truly hungry. The physical sensation of holding someone you love. The rush of music moving through a physical body. The feeling of standing in nature and suddenly, for just a moment, feeling completely connected to everything. These experiences require a body. And a physical body on a planet like Earth, where the full spectrum of emotion is available. Joy and grief, love and loss, triumph and failure is one of the rarest and most extraordinary spiritual environments in existence. This is why many traditions teach that souls choose to come here, not as punishment, not randomly, but because Earth, with all its density, all its pain, all its beauty, is a place of accelerated spiritual growth that is simply not available anywhere else in quite the same way. The pain you have felt in your life, the loss, the heartbreak, the moments when you were on your knees and did not know how to go on, those were not obstacles to your spiritual development. Those were your spiritual development. The ability to bridge heaven and earth. Here is the second extraordinary gift of the human being. Humans exist at the intersection of the physical and the spiritual. You are spiritual beings having a physical experience, not physical beings occasionally having a spiritual experience. You are consciousness, vast, eternal, unlimited, temporarily wearing a physical body. This means you have access to both dimensions simultaneously. You can think abstract thoughts that transcend physical reality. You can access states of consciousness through meditation, prayer, breathwork, and deep presence that give you direct experience of the non-physical dimensions. And at the same time, you can act in the physical world. You can build things, create things, change things. You can turn a spiritual insight into a physical reality. A being of pure consciousness cannot do that. It can inspire, it can guide, it can hold space, but it cannot pick up a tool and build a shelter. It cannot hold a grieving child. It cannot plant a seed in physical earth. The human being is the bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the physical and the spiritual, between what is and what could be. That bridge is the rarest thing in the universe: free will. And then there is the third gift, the one that all the most advanced traditions agree is the most extraordinary of all: free will. True, genuine, radical free will. Most beings in the universe, even highly advanced ones, operate within the laws of their nature. A being of pure love expresses pure love. A being of pure wisdom expresses pure wisdom. They do not struggle with the choice between love and fear, between truth and deception, between service and selfishness. They simply are what they are. Humans are different. Humans are the only beings who can look directly at love and choose fear, who can know the truth and choose the lie, who can feel the pull of their highest self and deliberately choose the opposite. This sounds like a flaw. It is not. It is the very thing that makes the human spiritual journey the most meaningful in the universe. Because when a human being who has the full capacity to choose darkness chooses light, that choice carries a weight, a power, a spiritual significance that no automatically loving being can ever generate. You cannot be truly brave without the real option of cowardice. You cannot be truly loving without the genuine capacity for cruelty. You cannot be truly awake without having truly been asleep. The human spiritual journey is not less than that of higher beings. In many ways, it is more. Now let us go somewhere very few conversations about spirituality are willing to go. What do the most advanced beings in this universe actually know about Earth? About humans? About what is happening here right now? The answer, drawn from the deepest threads of spiritual tradition, ancient texts, and the accounts of people across history who have touched non-ordinary states of consciousness, is this: Earth is not a forgotten backwater of the universe. Earth is a focal point. This small, dense, chaotic, beautiful, brutal, extraordinary planet is one of the most watched locations in this galaxy. Not because we are the most powerful, not because we are the most developed, but because of what is happening here. A species with extraordinary spiritual potential, trapped in a cycle of forgetting, standing at the edge of a massive shift in consciousness, with free will determining which way it goes. That is not boring. That is the most dramatic spiritual story playing out in this region of the universe right now. Many traditions speak of beings who observe this process, some who seek to support it, some, and this is the part that is harder to speak about, some who seek to prevent it. Because a humanity that wakes up, a humanity that remembers what it is, a humanity that moves from fear to love, from separation to unity, from unconscious to conscious, changes the energetic balance of this entire dimension of reality. That kind of shift has consequences that ripple outward far beyond this one small planet. This is why, across so many traditions and so many cultures, the awakening of humanity is described not as a personal journey, but as a cosmic event. You waking up is not just good for you, it matters to the universe. Step 3. Follow what expands you. Your body knows. There are things in your life that when you do them, you feel more alive, more present, more yourself, more connected. And there are things that when you do them, you feel smaller, more contracted, less alive, more disconnected from yourself. Your body is giving you constant spiritual information. Expansion is the direction of your soul. Contraction is the direction away from it. Most people override this information constantly. They stay in the contracted job, the contracted relationship, the contracted life, because it is familiar, because it is safe, because change is frightening. But the universe is always nudging you toward expansion, sometimes gently, sometimes through crisis. The crisis in your life that broke you open was not the universe punishing you. It was the universe refusing to let you stay small. Step 4. Understand that love is not an emotion, it is a frequency. The most advanced spiritual beings in the universe do not love because it feels good. They love because love is the fundamental frequency of existence. Science calls it coherence. Physics calls it resonance. Spirituality calls it love. When a human being operates from genuine love, not romantic love, not conditional love, but the deep unconditional recognition that every other being is a version of yourself, their energy field literally changes. Their brain enters coherence. Their heart rhythm becomes ordered. Their immune system strengthens. Their perception expands. Love is not just a feeling. It is the operating system of the universe, and it is available to every human being in every single moment. Step 5. Remember who you are. This is the most important step, and the simplest, and the hardest. You are not your job. You are not your past. You are not your trauma. You are not your failures. You are not what anyone has ever told you that you are. You are a piece of the universe that became conscious and chose to experience itself through a human life. You are ancient. You are vast. You are connected to everything that exists. And every moment, no matter how dark, how lost, how broken, every moment is an opportunity to remember that. So, are humans the most spiritually advanced beings in the universe? No. Not yet. Not collectively. Are humans the least spiritually advanced beings in the universe? No. Not even close. Humans are something far more interesting than either of those answers. Humans are the beings in the universe who are right in the middle of the most important journey. The journey from forgetting to remembering, from fear to love, from separation to unity, from unconscious to awake. And that journey, walked in a physical body with real stakes, with genuine free will, through real darkness, is the most extraordinary spiritual journey that exists. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not less than. You are in the middle of the most important story in this corner of the universe. And the most advanced beings watching this planet are not watching with pity. They are watching with awe, because they know what is coming. They know what happens when a human being finally, fully wakes up. You came to this video for a reason, not by accident, not randomly. Something in you already knows what you are. Something in you has always known. It is the part of you that has never been satisfied with the surface of life. The part that looks at the sky and feels something words cannot name. The part that knows, even in your darkest moments, that there is something more. That part is not imagination. That is the real you, knocking from the inside, asking to be let out. The universe is not waiting for you to be perfect. It is not waiting for you to have it all figured out. It is waiting for you to be willing to look, willing to question, willing to let go of who you were told you are and begin to discover who you actually are. That willingness is the beginning of everything. If this cracked something open in you, share it. Because somewhere out there, someone is one video away from remembering who they are. Subscribe, because we are going deeper next time, much deeper.